Hello and welcome back to No Bullshit. Today we turn to talking about yet another major company who is getting woke with their advertising. They'll inevitably go broke too because of this, so let's go ahead and talk about all the details and see why. This time it's the soda company called Sprite who is getting in on this failing left-wing inspired wave of woke advertising we've seen become a trend throughout this year and recent history. Previously it was other companies like Gillette, Burger King, Nike, Monopoly, and Mattel who all went through their own versions of trying to pander to social justice warriors and other alphabet people. Those campaigns all failed and caused more problems than good for those brands too, but regardless of their horrible track records, other products like Sprite still think it's smart to go down this road. It's kind of like how SJWs keep making woke movies like Charlie's Angels from last week, despite this idea and strategy failing many times before them, like with the Terminator film, Ocean's 8, and Ghostbusters as well. But for some reason, the liberals like this, they never seem to learn from their mistakes. Probably because they never think they've ever done anything wrong, and they don't have enough character to admit when they're wrong either, so that's why they just constantly double down and act as if they've never failed ever, when they clearly have over and over. Sprite used to have fun and entertaining commercials back in the day too, with legitimate endorsements as well, like the ads they made with basketballer LeBron James, rapper Drake, and even Sting the pro wrestler. But this time, Sprite is jumping on the woke train, and they're taking cues from Gillette by making an ad for their Argentina market that's completely and totally about being pro-trans and LGBTQ alphabet people. Nothing wrong with supporting those groups either, of course, but one thing many people are noticing right off the bat is that with this new commercial, it literally has nothing to do with Sprite or soda. There's no one drinking Sprite in the commercial, there's no cans in the background, no one even mentions the product whatsoever. It's just this long, boring, overly dramatic montage of people cross-dressing and putting on makeup and wigs. Like these dudes are saving the world by wearing a dress and heels or some shit. Come on. At least with Gillette's similar ad, they had a trans boy who was growing some whiskers that needed to be shaved with a Gillette product which came in handy. As awkward and uncomfortable as that whole thing was, at least Gillette tried to put their product in their ad. Sprite didn't though, and it just goes to show how little they actually care about advertising their own products. Really, their goal was to pander to woke SJWs and liberals, hoping their lip service to them will get them to buy their soda. But as we've seen time and time again, SJWs just don't buy things. That and they're just not as prevalent and numerous and as good a customer base as most people might think. An article from CNS has more details on this story. It's called Sprite Launches Pro-LGBT Ad Campaign in Argentina. Check this one out. Sprite, a product of the Coca-Cola company, has launched an ad campaign in Argentina, Sprite Argentina, that features the celebration of a gay pride parade and parents helping their sons and daughters cross-dress, apparently an endorsement of transgender expression. Maxi Itzkoff, the creative director of this campaign, said the purpose of the ads is to test innovation and to target young people. The campaign, created by the Argentinian marketing company Santo, hashtag No Estás Solex, You Are Not Alone, launched on October 8th on Twitter for Sprite, a brand that is under the Coca-Cola company and in partnership with Reddit, a social media platform and discussion website. The first video advertisement for the campaign shows various teenagers and young adults typing statements such as, "I am 21 and I don't know what to do with my life," while the song You Will Never Walk Alone by Jerry and the Pacemakers plays in the background. Yeah, I think the whole targeting young people with pro-transgenderism propaganda is going a bit too far, certainly. And let's keep in mind here, there's nothing wrong with being LGBTQIA or any other letter of the alphabet, but when you're talking about the T one in particular, it does mean that something is not totally right in that person's head. If they were totally unencumbered, they wouldn't be born in the wrong body and also diagnosed with gender dysphoria in the first place. Some are even comparing this to a company making a pro-anorexia campaign or pro-bipolar disorder or something else similar like that. Again, not that there's anything wrong with any of those people. We should be totally on board with accepting everyone here who doesn't break the law, of course, but we also don't need to promote disorders like this and prop up and treat people that have them as these great and special snowflakes who are above everyone else. That's why we're seeing so many people jump onto this trend now too, because they see all the social validation and victim points and attention people get if they claim to be an alphabet person, when really it shouldn't be something you claim for attention or probably even claim at all. Your identity and your sexuality is something you're just born with and have very little control over. Sure, you should embrace that and accept yourself, but clearly this whole thing is taking it way too far. Among phrases in the video say, "I like both boys and girls," and "I am a man but I want to be a woman." At the end of the video, those statements receive various responses from other people who are going through a similar experience. See videos here. I put a link to that below. The value of a brand could be greater by creating real empathy with the youth instead of going and selling them a Sprite, Itzkoff said during a marketing festival. We got out of the habitual marketing tone and out of what we are supposed to do, and we ran away from the target cliches. Except now you're just being a cliche SJW. For the rest of the campaign, Sprite Argentina posted videos with statistics such as, "We are 2,497,381 who were born in the wrong body." The video ads always conclude by saying, "You are not alone, keep yourself fresh," and are a clear endorsement of the LGBT lifestyle. Right, and as I said, endorsing the alphabet lifestyle might not be bad on its own, in a vacuum, but when you realize they are pointing this degenerate ideology and bullshit towards young children, and it's being done to supposedly sell sugar water, well, that's when questions certainly begin to arise. And here they even said they are born in the wrong bodies, like I said earlier. Then they also talked about men wanting to be women, as if that's just an option and an easy choice we can all make now. And sure, if you're open to all this and you buy into all this SJW propaganda, they do say you can just pick whatever gender you want to be at your own free will now. Hell, leftists are even getting so far gone, they're starting to say race is a social construct too, and you could just claim to be black even if you're not, just like how Sean King and Rachel Dolezal do. But in my humble opinion, if you're born a certain way, you should just work on accepting that and not be playing dress up and pretending to be something else that you're not. The video that has stirred the most comments on Twitter was one posted on November 1st. It portrays young people getting ready for a gay pride parade and being helped by what seems to be their parents, who are adjusting their outfits and chest binders. Lastly, two girls paint a white heart on top of a gay rainbow flag. The video ends up with the statement, "Pride, what you feel when someone you love chooses to be happy." In addition to criticism from those who object to the LGBT agenda, most of the negative comments on Twitter seem to come from LGBT people who are not happy with the apparent lack of racial diversity in the campaign videos. Wow, the alphabet people are being totally pandered to and catered to and everything, and they're still going to complain. Just goes to show you can never make leftists like this happy. That's why I say we shouldn't even really try. Also, didn't we already have a whole month for gay pride back in June? That whole month was dedicated to celebrating LGBTQIA pride stuff, and now we have to sit through another event and another wave of silliness just a few months later? Talk about being greedy and self-centered, and also, these people are way out of touch and think they're way more important than they actually are. Only like 4.5% of people are even alphabet letter ones anyway. But for some reason, they get like 10 or 20 or 30% of the year to celebrate their sexualities, which is something they were born with and never had to work for or earn. I mean, celebrating a Super Bowl win is one thing, or celebrating your wedding or retirement party makes sense too, because these are one-time accomplishments that you had to work for. But taking over one whole month of a year to celebrate who you have sex with is certainly a bit much. That's why when straight people try and do the same kind of thing for ourselves, we get attacked and laughed at and condemned. And that's because, yeah, you shouldn't need to celebrate being straight, just like you shouldn't need to celebrate being gay or anything else. Next, let's talk about the controversial pro-chest binding part of this ad. In this Sprite promo, they show a girl helping someone attach a compression strap around a female torso. This is used by some trans people who want to strap down their chests, hiding them to make them look more like a boy. This binding practice is also highly questionable, and it can also be very painful and dangerous, sometimes even squeezing a person's insides and making internal organs bleed, causing some injuries. It's like the ancient practice of binding the feet of women in Asia. Chest binding is like that too, and when it's done long term, it can cause chronic pain and take a serious toll on someone. But Sprite and their pro-SJW ad is promoting this foul practice anyway, because they will apparently support and condone anything if it will make them look more woke and put them in the good graces of the radical leftists. And surprise, surprise, but there are actually a lot of liberals out there who are praising this ad and supporting its creepy message. Here, LGBTQNation.com says, "See the Sprite ad for Argentina Pride taking over social media. This commercial should be the standard for LGBTQ-focused advertising." Talk about out of touch. And first of all, alphabet-focused advertising shouldn't even really be a thing. Not that we need to exclude them either, but if you're promoting a soda like Sprite, it should really be going for everyone. And if anything, they might want to focus on their average customer base, which I hate to break it to the left, but it's not the small percentage of the world that's LGBTQ. Also, as mentioned earlier, why would companies want to follow in the paths of other failed ad campaigns like Gillette or Nike? It's like imitating the French when you want to learn how to win a war, or trying to copy your homework off the dumbest kid in your class. Doesn't make sense at all. The ad shows several different people preparing for Pride, with the approval and support of their friends and family, to the tune of Rodgers and Hammerstein's "You'll Never Walk Alone." The closing scene features a dad watching their child joining the parade's festivities as the message, "Pride, what you feel when someone you love chooses to be free," fades onto the screen. On the version tweeted out by Sprite Argentina and shown in Argentina, this message is in Spanish. Of course it is. And really makes you think, doesn't it? At what point will they stop celebrating and complaining about being oppressed? At this point, alphabet people have been the opposite of oppressed for years. They have all the rights and privileges, and they even get treated better than everyone else now too. But somehow, they also still complain and act like oppressed victims, even though they're the center of attention all the time and everyone kisses their asses constantly. Really, it goes to show it's never enough for people like this. And these events and Pride Day celebrations, they're just going to keep expanding until every single day of the year is all about them. And also, it goes to show liberals like this will always complain and play the victim too. And they'll also beg for more and more attention, even if they're already obnoxiously in our faces all the time. And they're getting treated better than everyone else too. Finally, we do have some actual pushback coming in at the end here. Here's a petition I found with 1,000 signatures already. And they're trying to stop this woke pro-alphabet anti-straight ad campaign coming from Sprite. And while I don't agree with everything said here, I'm surely not against LGBT people and their lifestyles. That can all be fine for them, and I hope everyone can live happily in their own spaces. But when you also try and push this degenerate, creepy SJW pride bullshit onto everyone else in the public, going after teens and children, well, that's when it becomes a bit too much. And there's many other people who are getting sick of this woke pandering too, which is something the left should keep in mind as well. The further they push this and the more they prop up alphabet people, the more the rest of us will begin to resent them and start to feel more animosity towards them too. What do you guys think? Is Sprite clearly getting woke here? Will this ad campaign strategy finally work for once? Or will they get woke and go broke just like the rest of them? Comment your thoughts on everything below, and thanks for watching No Bullshit. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.